Iron Lady Records, sweet sound. I come to tell mama, ya no see, no way I can meet her. Mekane na uka yenda babo na une don yam na une don yam na une don yam mekane na uka wo mama bo kwa na une don yam bunu mama banu kwa makale gpia akara wa bo ya gpia wa na une don yam na une don yam wala mo se yo Ekwara mosi tano gwe baba ne Ekwara mosi akpeno gwe baba mama Mekane na une don yam Na une don yam Na une don yam Meka yene yaka kabwe baba we ni ba we bono gwe baba Na ye bebe don ye dole Hala de rabanga kwa tepe gwe baba Kasi kwen wodie kama na une don yam Nika kwa kwen wo ya dongo be na une don yam Kwa kata kwen si ya wongo be mama na une don tabone na une don yam E wara masanyo Zole te mwa kwa kapa babo Yego pepe yego dole pole dia Daku zole yego ma babo Baby zole yego pepe woma I don't come out to hear you mune Mekane I don't come out woma Ado mama te yo Matware Yego kanto bomia Na une don yam Kibo yama ya bosu wa kwa baba Adon kama wuma yone Ejedu otane rere Walwe Wanaro we mo pay By time wa kwa kuma dole Kabo jelu da Ileswe nuke Mekane Mekane na muka yenda ya kwale Ewara mosayo Adonga mawo mawera mosayo mekane Ere tuma mano kama kade gpia Primo nene senyo Dale ya kanisa kwa woda me woda wa ogoda Gwe bali ebo ko mai pie kan ba kware nse ka we kwa mai Ka te tu mi kwa ka papa bo kama Na une don yam Adonga mawo mai yemune Matasi kwa kapa babo Si ponya si kwa kapa babo neo Na une don yam Kiso kwe kwa kapa babo maye Na une don yam Eno gapi Na une don yam Rola yomi kwa kapa babo neo Wonge Samite sami kwa kapa babo kamaye Na une don yam Ese maremo Tipete wewe wo maema Esta sekre wewe wo maema Zaka unti ye wewe wo maema Ali tropie mitano Katulia ka time Patisha batu wewe wo maema mama Aya lele Iso ya studio tore ao Presela mame kwa kapa babone Kema fora kwa kapa babo kama Afrique buye gondole boso Zoza kwa kapa babone Na une don yam Na une don yam Na siawa ye kopolo mia Na une don yam Adon kama wuma yemune Na une don yam On sore doati we de we Na une don yam Jeru otane we kwaro kwe O mekane na une don yam Na une don yam Gibo nyawa ya bosu wa kwa babo Na une don yam no kagawe no we yense ya ke odonu ma wa agokwa wo po no we ka atose we ka don wo to kwa ya ku no me ka ne no ka yenda bonde na una donyi yama.
Well, folks, good evening and welcome to today's edition of the RiverSde Talk. It's the Tri River platform. We are glad to be here on your airway this evening. We will be talking about a couple of things happening in Liberia and what has been happening since the July 26th, even before the July 26th. We have a couple of things to talk about here tonight, so stay tuned, keep glued to whatever monitor you have. Let's get into discussion and see how we all can handle Liberia issue. Let's listen to our music again. Right after that, we'll proceed with why we are here tonight.
Ekwara mose yo why ka talk when podi kama wende do kama kwente tena kaba papa na una donyi yama nsore do atebe mebo na una donyi yama me luweta we men wotaka wa iyo say na una donyi yama I don't come out to hear you. Now, don't yam. Kawe Wama go be. A congress ponya says so true. Jelly Coco. Kasare kasutu.
All right, folks, welcome back. Let's have some discussion here tonight. You know, of recent Liberia, by the way, how did the July 26th celebration, went? What did you do, whether in Liberia or outside of Liberia? Well, for us here in the state of Indiana, it wasn't an easy one. It wasn't easy in the sense that everybody enjoyed themselves, not a difficult way. We had a ball on Saturday, the 25th itself, and Wanto was our guest. And then on Sunday, we climbed ourselves with outdoor activities. We went to the park. And for us, one thing that, struck my mind was there is a group called the Friends of Liberia. And it is a combination of the Peace Corps that came to Liberia in 1985. We were fortunate enough to have seen some of those people. The lady the other white lady that was, with us that night was a teacher at Can High. She teaches at Campley in 1985. And they presented certificate to Wanto on behalf of the association. So, and she gives some history about their involvement and how the Friends of Liberia came to play after they have returned from their Peace Corps mission in Liberia. But also on Sunday during the park event, we climaxed our activities with a gathering on the park where our usual start. Now we got to proceed with sport. We play game among ourselves, even though I didn't play. Don't ask me why. We play games, our soccer game, and then there was also a certificate presented to the Liberia from the city mayor office. A proclamation was also made from the city mayor office. So the Liberians in the state of Indiana are recognized legally because, I mean, mind you, we had a very large population that doing elections, we go and vote, but we don't have a vote. So this time, let me say kudos to the current leadership and all those leaders of the Liberian Association from the past coming to present. Because they say you start planting mat from the old mat. So they have laid a legacy for the ongoing continuation of leadership. So let me say kudos to all of them. Well, that was it for us in the state of Indiana, but I can see a lot of pictures, controversies on social media regarding to the celebration of the July 26th program. And I leave it to the public to judge, and the public are the judge. They're going to decide. And also, it was very beautiful celebrating in Liberia. We can see the pictures from the gathering from Grand Bassa, the government themselves, and then coming to Monrovia for the grand celebrations itself. But I kept asking this question. We celebrated our July 26th, our independence. We celebrated all of that. Yes, Liberia is progressing, but there is still war that we need to get rid of. And what are those wars? The war of corruption, the war of embezzlement. One may say, oh, we came out of civil, we fought 14 years civil war. Yes, we did. Ebola came, yes, Ebola came. We crossed Ebola. But since then, we've crossed those incidents coming up to now. When the Ebola came in 2014, from 2014 to 2024 or 2026, how many years were there? So we should not be going back to those old days or maybe the negative ones. But our focus should be now, what can we do collectively to develop this little country? We are the mother of Africa, fine. We've grown. We give birth to a lot of African countries, but is this birth that we render to other African countries, see how they are progressing with development and see where we are. See our living conditions, our health facilities, no job, the youth, the disadvantaged populations, the disabled, our elderly, no job. Everyone roam around the street, wandering around, nothing to, for people to do. What can we do? How can Liberia get on path to bring sanity and stability in the country? That people can wake up from their houses and go to work and come back home and go and make their honest living and come back home to support their family. That people will no longer depend on the same corrupt political institutions that have engulfed all of us mind, that everything most Liberians think of these days is politics. We all can be a politician. We all can. But we can do something individually to support the growth of our country. Individually, we can do it. But now it has become the norms of the day where everybody, if a child is coming up in Liberia, what he or she thinks about is politics. Don't get me wrong, politics is not bad, it's a fun career. But all of us can't just be a politicians. And all the politicians need to create an avenue where entrepreneurs will strive to make living there. Entrepreneurs will have the opportunity to grow. There are talented Liberians, but the opportunity is not given them. Politics has become the sole orator of the day that everybody's minds and attention is solely glued to politics. We can't be like this. And our society can't continue to plight on this kind of environment. See our health sector. Go see our health sector. We celebrated July 26th, making us 179 years since 1847. See us where we are. No pipe-borne water. And no nothing. No. What can we point at to say, yes? Don't get me wrong, we're moving. Developmentally, we're getting there. Things are happening. But we need to do more. On the issue of employment. Employment in Liberia has become, who know you? Welcome to the show, Mr. Miamin.
Thank you so much.
So let's hear you. How was the July 26th celebration?
It's good being here tonight.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
It's good being here tonight to be able to get into discussions that are important for our followers and for our nation, that we can be able to build our country. All of us will be beneficiary to the nation, and the nation also be of great asset to us. So thank you for initiating it, and thank God that we are here tonight.
So this is.
Yeah. So, I was talking about the July 26th celebration and the independence that we have. We are 179 years old country now, giving birth to most African countries who came in the 1960s. You're talking about Ghana, Nigeria, and our little baby Burkina Faso. Compare Burkina Faso to Liberia right now. Somebody and I was having a conversation last night at work, and a person said, just mark my word, in the next maybe 2 to 3 years, no citizens from Burkina Faso want to travel to America because of what the president of that country is doing. And that sank into my mind, and I reflected on the story of the late father, Thomas Sankara, because the way in which things are proceeding now is exactly how Thomas Sankara pictured Burkina Faso. If you follow Thomas Sankara history and his speeches and what he wanted, how he wanted Burkina Faso to be. But come to Liberia, everything is politics. The celebration went on fine. We're seeing how beautiful the people, gathered to celebrate peacefully. There were no chaotic thing that was reported. Everything went on fine. We know we give God a glory for that. But there is still work that needs to be done on this whole issue of Liberia leaving from where we are now to go into a developed country. where people will have access to those basic necessities. Come on, man. Yeah, that common thing. Internet. It's not yet something that everybody can access easily in Liberia. Water, running water, see it. I don't know whether I don't know where Moali is now with the pipe bomb water thing in Liberia. I don't know. I don't know which community is it in. How do people get it? The current will come and go. Sometimes the current go up the other place in darkness. We are still at where we are. Road connectivity, we're moving ahead with that. But the basic necessity, yes, still people still go to bed hungry. The issue of typhoid fever. Typhoid fever is chronic in Liberia because of our environment, because of those waters that we drink, because of where we live. Go to those selling areas, see where people sit and eat, see where people sell food. People gotta do all that just to survive. Let's hear you, brother.
Okay, let me quickly start with the issue of environment before getting to the independence celebration. I said once on the show that we prioritize medical data to that of the other students that are in environment, public health, and other discipline. In Liberia, people who go to professional school to do pharmacy or pharmacology, the people who do medicines are people that the government prioritized and give them scholarship. They go to school from start to end. But what good will it make if the environment is not clean? Will you want the burden to be on the hospital if you don't have people in the community to carry out health education? And that's quite lies in the hands of the environmentalists and public health specialists. So if you want to have education or access to education for people within that area, it should be equally done. It should not be partial that you will have certain group of people going to school on government expense and certain group of people pay their own school fees, go to school, and after graduation, they don't even get a job. So it becomes a serious problem. Or some people will pay their own school fees to go to school, then from there you say, you got to serve your country. How possible can that be? Even agriculture we are seeing today, you need nutrition or nutritious food. If you don't have it, how will you not have stunted children to go to hospital on a daily basis? If we don't produce healthy food, if we don't have the system that will be able to have these things in place, you will have children that will always get sick, and you have elderly people that will always get sick because they will not have the balanced diet and they will have to go to the hospital. And the burden will be on the hospital, and the doctors we have today, they will not be able to cater to all. And equally so, and you have these people, the issue of climate change, I continue to always say that, is also part of the environmental issue. If climate change is not dealt with accordingly, you see, we have high level of pollution in our country. We have flooding taking place all over. We have lightning that is now striking and destroying homes and other places, storm coming. And if we don't have people within that area to also help, you will see that our health sector that is already having a problem will go backward, will go too bad. Because if people are displaced, you know that their income will drop. And you got flood all around, it will become social economic issue. People will not be able to have a good harvest of their crops. Then food insecurity will step in. If you see flooding, will get into streams or will get into water that people drink. And you see that diarrhea, cholera, all of these things will come in. And they are all as a result of climate change. So if you don't have people that will be able to produce these things, and you only depend on training your dieters, so it means that you are creating more chaos. And this will also contribute to immature growth of crops because you have pests and diseases. And when these pests and diseases come, there will also be food insecurity. So I'm trying to say our independence that we are talking about today, we should not just focus on one sector. We should also look at other sectors that will have another impact on another sector. Because all of these things tie to one health. If you have these things and you are not taking care of them, you will know the burden will be on the hospital. And then the hospital will be able to strive. So it means that you need manpower in all of these areas. So don't just give your scholarship to a certain area and forgo other people. Now to the issue of our independence. In Buchanan, the celebration was well organized. I followed partially, but I observed certain things within that program that made me feel bad on the day of that program. And it was not from the organizers or not from the president or from any other person, but it is from one of the venues that were used for the marching, the football field. Look at the E. Williams, the Dory Williams football field that was used, the stadium. If you look at it, the stadium was not painted. If you know that you are having a serious program that people will be watching both nationally and internationally, why could you not just use maybe few buckets of paint just on the stadium to have a nice outlook for people who are watching both internally and externally to grade the government or to grade the Liberian people. But all of this thing we are saying is not only about government, it also has implications on us as citizens. How will somebody say that in Ghana or in USA or in Sierra Leone be watching your program and see that the area you are having your program is not correct, it's not clean? How will that person grade you? So it becomes an issue. And I alone did not even comment on it. How other people commenting on it. When I commented, I started seeing other people comment on that. But I don't think whether the national government had taken note of that or other people had taken note of that. So we need to work on it. And another issue you mentioned is the current issue we have in our country, electricity. Electricity that's supposed to be another source of funding for the government. Because we're talking about domestic revenue collection. If you were to collect every home and provide regular current for these people, you will see that government will generate millions annually. And you will not even need external revenue to take care of certain sector, let's say health or education. You yourself, you can stay and say, I will take care of this one. Because if you connect every home in Liberia, you will get to know that the money you will generate from that will be enough. They are dealing with us here, the tax system. We subscribe to current that even when you are not using current, you still pay tax. Or that even when you have current on your meter, you still pay tax when you go to purchase another current. What sort of policy is that? You will see that I will have current in my meter that will carry me for 3 months. But if the current is carrying me for 3 months and I don't purchase current within that time and I come back to buy current after 3 months period, government will backdate my payment. And if I'm buying 20, 40 current, they will give me like $5 value. Or if I'm buying something like $20 current, they will give me something less than what I expect. Then they will tell me I have not been buying current for months back. How can you tell me that when I have recharged for that period, when I have current on my phone, I think you should have a system that monitor that I am using current that is bought. And again, if I come to buy current, it should not be something that you will bill what I have not done. And you should be able to bill me on what I should do. So these are things that we need to work on. The other countries within the sub-region are progressing, but we should not just sit down and deal with one policy and just look at one thing over and over. Thank you.
So, you lay out a very good points on those discussions. I think they are very fine. And the issue of the current, this day I was wondering, because I don't know where I say your current is measured monthly. The meter, you have the meter, they just sit and monitor the number of current you consume and send you the bill. But for Liberia, it's the opposite. And I yet to understand how the current is, how the charges is done and so forth. I don't know whether there is people monitoring or they just allow people to just exploit ordinary citizens of those, basic needs. Yes, for example, the current at the house there, quote unquote, it was not paid, or when they put money there, they feel they will say you get current. The meter been beeping for long. They put it one, you get current. I don't know whether the woman call you or not. But this, I think, when I heard the video, I was wondering, I said, but how ready is this current situation though? I thought it's charged monthly. They look at it and say, okay, for the month of maybe July, this is the amount of current you used, and this is your current bill. Or I'm recharging for the month of July. And as July ends, I go and recharge for August. But it is totally the opposite in Liberia, and I honestly don't understand. But like you said, we need, a thorough explanation, because to me, what I'm looking at here now is that people just exploiting people. If you are not using the current, if the current is on, if you have a system that monitors all connected homes and the current is on, the current is on. You know it. If it is not on, the current is not on. So why would you charge somebody for back 3 months that they didn't use the current you're charging them for when they have not used it? So you charge people when they didn't get something, they're not using something. I just don't understand that part. And I think the issue of government controlling that, we will not have a very stable, stable monitoring system. I think if they can do it like subcontractors and give it out to zoning, to like maybe the way jungle water is. Okay, the jungle water controls certain area. That area, jungle water is responsible for that. People buy current, and then they pay the government taxes. They pay the government, they share depending on the government. That's how, for us, that's how it looks like here. If your current goes, they got people who, give the group that are responsible for certain communities. You pay your bill through them. They deal with the government. But
yeah. Okay. To a point, I think what you are saying is very much good. We need public-private partnership.
yes,
Government should be able to give this service to people. What happening in Nima? If you are in Nima, the current bill paid there is paid differently compared to what is done in Monserrado. Only those of us in Monserrado experiencing that. For the surrounding people, I don't think they monitor. They are affected by the policy in Monserrado. I heard from someone like that. You telling me that I'm paying for street lights, but time will come that the street lights will not be on for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. Even my very home will not have current because there's a break in transmission. So if there's a break in transmission that I'm not receiving current and I'm not using current for that length of time, or I have recharged for that length of time. Then I go to purchase another current. Then you charge me heavily for taxes that I did not even utilize. How possible can that be? This has become a problem for now. So people in leeward countries, their measure is different from those of us in Masquerado.
And we have think if that's the case, then because if you are charging people out of home for a current, it should be how they consume current. If somebody is entitled to pay for July, if you tell me the person uses the current for the month of July but hasn't paid, you turn off their current until the system is restored. But you can't just turn it off because they may not pay. You give warning. You are overdue. The second one, if you can't pay, we'll turn your current off. But honestly, I just don't understand. And these are basic needs that Liberians need on a daily basis. We cannot continue living on this kind of path where there is no here, no there. You brought the system, you brought the equipment in the country for citizens' consumption. Citizens now getting it to grasp the importance of what you brought. Make it, transparent for the public consumption. The current, honestly, I just don't understand. But I think the private-public partnership will work because a group, if a current contractor is available to say, okay, let's say the whole of how you call it community that? How you call our community? Fender. The whole of Fender, there's a group that controls Fender. Or maybe along with Mount Barkley. From Mount Barkley going back there, there's a group that controls that. And then all other community places, there's a group that controls that. If we do that, even if it's the same company that operates in those communities, but then they have a certain control unit that controls each community. So now they will be here responsible. They monitor the system. So I think like the way they give traffic system to a private entity, I think the government, something is just quote unquote we are here. So we gotta now bring in, I think it's about time we bring in private public partnership. That the private take over and deal with government and pay the government, and then I think we'll have a system here, but that whole thing is just so kind of like, I don't understand. Well, folks, that is it. We are talking about Mama Liberia. But before the July 26th, there were news. We were talking about a very critical incident in Liberia that has to do with the drugs activities in the country. And I think it was the 21st of July that a major drug bust happened in the Viewer community. And that, brought the arrest of 2 foreign nationals. And as it stands, the seizure of that contraband value is around 317 plus million. And like I always said to you people, those cartels are very much connected and calculative. Now, over the past, I've been saying the fight against this drug is not a one-man fight, but a collective effort by all Liberians. A collective effort by all Liberians, not one. Not a single one Liberian can do that. Now, within that, since the arrest of those guys, there were a lot of rumors of trying to bribe 106, which the police department let one of its own to go. And last week, we heard the justice minister giving a press release that the issue surrounding the 10,000 alleged bribery issue, he gave a press release on that. The money was given to 106 to interfere and release those guys, but not in connection of the drugs. The part that he played that he got let go of was when he received the money, he did not let anybody know. If he had said to the joint security or even his immediate boss, Coleman, that this is what happened and this is what I received, it would have been a different case. But that didn't happen. And that's why they let him go. And the issue of Coleman was aware, Gregory Coleman is aware he's part of the cartel and this and that. He disputed that. Now, as of today, there have been a indictment of 12 individuals in connection to this whole saga. And I am quoting from BKS TV. It said Liberia formally indicted 12 in record 317.68 million cocaine case. The Liberian government has formally indicted 12 individuals in connection with the country's largest ever cocaine seizure, valued at 317.68 million. Following the charges filed before the Painesville City Magistrate Court, those charged include John Davy, Gracie Grazales, John Davis, Gracie Grazales, Shradan Silly, Edison Brown, Mohammed Alpha Ba, Jamal V. Jala, Christopher Say, Christian L. Nyanti, Ceci Nelson, Sekou Nana Tom, Michael, and Afonso, along with other suspects yet to be identified. So in short, this 12 person has been indicted into this whole issue. Now, what is more interesting about this whole indictment or this whole saga is that, according to prosecution, they are alleging that a trafficking operation dated back in 2024, when members of the network reportedly used a commercial aviation adventure at RiverSde International Airport as cover up before later establishing a fishing business in RiverSde, Bowman County, to facilitate the transportation, the importation, and transportation of cocaine. So the network, their whole network, allegedly, they are alleging that in 2024, they begin operation. And the operation centers, they went ahead to engage into aviation. That is to serve as airline, I call it agents for airline, blah, 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 and things. So later they decided to say, no, let's do a fishing thing. They register as a fishing company to be on the sea and be able to transport their equipment. And that's what they did. Now, it went further to say authority alleged that on July 21st, 2026, a joint security operation executed a search warrant at a resident in View Community, Pinsville, where officers seized 3,971 plates of cocaine concealed in 157 bags, along with a firearm, vehicle, communication equipment, drones, satellite device, and US 7,000 in cash. One suspect identified as Tom allegedly escaped during the operation and remained at large. The indictment also formally named Edison Brown, who had previously been identified only as person of interest, while Jamel V. Jala is accused of approving a group initial entry to Liberia. However, some individuals mentioned in the investigation, including an airport official alleged to have assisted the operation, were not included among those formally charged. The defendant have not yet entered a plea under Liberian law. All accused persons are presumed innocent unless until person proven guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction. So over the past, I've been saying when it comes to the issue of drugs, it's a cartel that are very much calculated and connected. You listen to the reading I just had, and thanks to BKS for covering this, news item. But to eradicate drugs out of that little country, it is all of us collective effort. It's difficult, but if we put our mind and ourselves into it, we can get it. Because the whole issue here is if you listen here, all those mentioned, one way or the other play part. They are still not guilty. They are alleging that this is what they did. Now, what is more important about this is that this whole operation began in 2024. The only thing is the month in which the operation began in 2024 is not mentioned. But they came in and they started as what? Commercial aviation thing. That is, their intention was to be, running an airline. I'm assuming that's why they say it's because it's commercial aviation. Running an airline, but later they said no. Running airline, we got cargo on the thing, it'll be risky. So apparently, let's go with fishery. So they register as a boat company in Bomi County and began operating from Bomi. Now, it is true there that the prosecutor alleging that it is true that means that they used to enter with those consignment into the country. This whole thing, it is indeed a connection, calculative plan, and they felt that Liberia was vulnerable. I've said it over and over. We have Liberia flare on the maritime. Liberia flare easy to get, so most of the cargo ships now uses Liberia flag. Mr. Ambassador Craven here, the Gambia, I think to follow placard. Hope all of y'all okay. So they uses Liberia flag to transport those equipment. Liberia flag is on most of those cargo ship roaming around. And I think at a certain point in time, I said on that show, I don't know whether we are monitoring what we are doing, because that's our image. This is our image. Are we actually monitoring what is going on? Our port of entry. We just pay full concentration on the airport, but we have a lot of loopholes that people use to get into our country. A lot of loopholes. Yet people coming in as what? Fishermen. But under the fishermen, this is, if you all remember at the beginning of this year, some part of last year coming to the beginning of this year, or in between that, Trump was, Trump issued order, they were killing people on the sea, many in a boat. They would blast them. This is exactly what happened. Because they knew that the Mexicans, the Venezuelans, the Colombians, all those men, they are very much deeply into this whole thing. So that's the means they use to transport. Fishing vessel, they have connection, they meet. But we're talking about satellite and all communication devices at $7,000 cash. US did not like bring that up. American can't deal with local money. So you don't think that local money you're talking about. This is indeed something that Liberians need to actually put their act together and secure their surroundings. Because if it is not done, I'm sorry, you might not get it done easily. Let's say, for example, somebody who is making $100 and you walk up to this person and say, my man, I got a deal for you. I will pay you $1,500 right now if you agree this thing to happen. If a person is not a sincere and genuine person with conscience, will accept that $1,000 and allow you to do what you want to do. I will making $150 a month. You can't give me $1,500 or even $2,000 just in one day time to carry on an operation. You think I'll not tell you, say go ahead? If I'm not really genuine person to have conscience and say, yes, this is my country, I will not sell my country out. You think I will not do it? This is exactly what is happening in our security sector. It has been a call of us always to say, let's improve our security system. How do we improve the system? Let's pay those guys. Instead of sitting in that one house, from the executive down to the House of Rep to all other ministry, instead of us sitting down there to make about thousands upon thousands a monthly, we could take some of those money and put it into our security sector and make our security look firm. You think why people want to join United States Army or any form of U.S. security system today, especially U.S. Army, Marine, this and that? You think why people want to do that? People want to do it because it comes with benefit, it comes with morale. You make the security sector looks lucrative to people. I know we don't have it, but if we are paying those guys honestly, not peanut, honestly, not peanut, we'll be doing the greatest job. About port of entry, go to the borderline, go see our immigration officer. You assign somebody to a border, right? And that person is there. 2-3 months, they can't take pay, but they're there. You know how that person is surviving there? You know how that person is surviving? You don't know. And it is an issue. It is an issue. So we need to pay keen attention to our security sector. Those folks that we put into our security sector need to be vetted properly and pay key attention to those borderlines. Our airport. Every means, we are not connected to those countries that are, deeply into those importation of drugs. Colombians. How do those guys get to Liberia? And I saw a post today alleging that those guys have diplomatic passport. How did the diplomatic passport, if it is true, how did the diplomatic passport land in their hands? That's the question. I take a story during George Weah administration. Liberia diplomatic passport landed in the hands of Mexicans. Liberia was on a watch list. Seriously, Liberia nearly got sanctioned. But instead of sanctioning Liberia, the sanction was placed on a couple in the government officials in the country. We sit and argue about politics every day. CDC, UP, CMC now is taking most of the fries. Unity Party, CMC, ANC, CDC, all the C's. But we're not looking at how well we can bring our, no meaning they are the one protecting Liberia. No meaning they get back, wake up one morning and say we're doing 18 years, they can do it easily. They can do it easily. If I were a government person, security sector will be my main concern. Because if you not have your security sector strong, it's easily penetrated. Let me take you back to Burkina Faso. I'll continue to talk about Burkina Faso because that Pekin doing well. That Pekin is doing very well. I'm calling Pekin because he's my age mate. He's doing exceedingly well. It's no joke. It's no joke. We just sit there and allow we will be enjoying our thousands upon thousands at the end of the month. All the lucrative that comes with being speaker, being lawmaker, being Senate pro tem, being a senator, being a president, you name it, vice president, whatever position you occupy. We'll make those thousands upon thousands and let the poor people that taking care of us, that mind our borderlines, who leave them vulnerable. The people that stood under sun and rain to elect us, we let them go to bed hungry. We can't create an avenue for a better system for people to even go and find something to do on their own. And then we say that, we say, yeah, we are Liberian. And we let title business. Okay. Security sector is one of the key things that holds government down. You already don't have a job in the country. People jump into those things now with passion. Some join now with passions, but just to get ends meet and get a daily bread on the connoisseur. And you take what kind of people you send them to the borderline. You think they will not compromise? They will. They will. I am speaking from a first-hand experience. When it comes to the security sector, if we are to be serious about this whole thing about drugs, it is Liberians themselves, with all of us collective effort, and take the thing they call you know who I am. It is you know who I am now that have destroyed Liberia to the greater extent to where we are now, that no system works in Liberia because everybody knows somebody. Everybody, one way or the other, is very much an important figure. But I mean, the time will come that while all media entities or platform presenters are saying now, if care is not taken to hold down our country and improve our security sector, we will end up in a place that Liberia will be in a very desperate need, but it will be late. It will be late. Because we are not creating an avenue where we will say, this is Liberia. We need to do something that our people will survive. Welcome back, Franklin. Let's hear you. Frank, let's hear you. All right, he's still facing network issue. Frankie, if you're hearing me, welcome back. Let's hear you.
Yeah, the network is still giving hard time. So, as you were saying about the drug issues in our country, I continue to tell people that let's fight this drug with our politics. As you can see, the letters from the son of the president that is surrounding on the internet. People have accused him falsely of being part of the cartel, and today he broke silence by denying all those allegations. And in fact, he said that he gave a chance to the government, to the security practitioners, to be able to do investigation without fear or favor or connection to any other person. And I think when I read his letter, I started to view myself in such a case or any of my children in such a case tomorrow. If you were to be a president and your son is in this dilemma where people could just look at things up and down and put it on that person, I think it's not fair enough for us to behave like this. Not because someone is a president, we should just get up and put their family members in whatsoever we say to feel that these people are part of it. And don't get me wrong, this thing happened during weird time. Any negative thing, you could see people attaching weird to it. You could see people saying officials of government are part of it. But we don't take time to do our own investigation. If we take politics out of fighting drugs, out of those necessities that we need as citizens, we will be able to survive in this country, and we will be able to use all necessary means to get rid of them. Can you remember that other people might even have their own children taking drugs and they are still playing politics with this? Can you imagine that?
So, Frank, let me hold you right there. Let's read his statement. He said, "Good morning. Before I say anything about myself, allow me to acknowledge the reason this issue has captured our nation's attention." This is Joseph Newman Boakasian's statement. Junior, sorry. Joseph Newman Boaka Jr. He said, Liberia is confronting one of the greatest challenges facing our generation and every Liberian, regardless of political affiliation or social standing. Should one those responsibility for the process of drugs in the country to be identified, persecuted, and brought to justice. The fight is bigger than politics and it is bigger than personality. I therefore want to encourage the men and women of our security institution who continues to work under the difficult circumstances to stand firm, fearless in this fight. Normally, I would not make a public statement concerning rumors or speculations about myself. Over the past 3 years, I have deliberately chosen not to respond to many allegations, accusations, and false narrative that have speculated about me. I have believed that responding to every rumor could only distract me from my family, my business, and my own responsibility. So, it's a very long statement, and with this, we will share on the page too as well later when we're done. But I believe it has circulated everywhere, and to the point you were driving at. It has become so much, and that's the next point I will come into, and then with this discussion tonight. Our society has become so much polarized that once it is not John Brown and it is Mary, then that issue, it is not sincere. The pattern started in doing George Manor, in fact, during Ellen regime, where Ellen was the president. Ellen children names were involved into other issues. That issue that has to do with no car and other things. Coming to George Weah era, George Weah came into play, and this whole issue of drugs came to limelight. Here we are today in the region of Ambassador Joseph Newman Boakai. And then every accusation points towards Joseph Boakai Jr. That he's part of the drugs cartel. He brought them into this country. If you read his post further down the line, he said, I'm friendly with some people that were named into this whole saga. But my friendship does not mean that I am part of the cartel or I am involved. And he's challenging the authorities to do investigation. If his name is part of it, let him be brought to book. For federal Liberians, we will come to his statement, but one thing I would like for us to look at here tonight is that we, Liberians, right? There are patterns that we have chosen to dwell on politically that it will destroy no matter who is in power, it will follow us along. If we are not careful, Brian, thanks for following. If we are not careful with the way we do things, that is the politics of destruction. We can criticize constructively, but our criticisms in Liberia, it has become a very much destructive way that nothing straight we say about one another once it is, if this person is not in your political class. Welcome back, Franklin. Let's hear you.
Yeah, so I think it's frustrating to always accuse one another or doing things that another person is not doing. So when I read the letter, the first thing that came to my mind is, so it means that there is possibility of people saying something about you without knowing what you are part of or not.
Yeah.
That was the first thing that registered my mind. And he said people wrote him. And the good thing he did was when he responded, he wrote the National Security and Police, Security Agency and Police. And he knows the person and he explained the connection to which he got connected to the person. So I'm not saying totally that he's innocent, but I'm just saying that from what he wrote, it shows to me that we have problems as a country. So if I am Franklin and tomorrow I become, let's say, representative or senator or any other person, and something happens, then people should just stigmatize my family, I think it's a disservice to me and my family. And if you want to take my position, you should do it out of spoiling my name, damaging my character, my reputation. And what all we live for in this earth is our reputation. It's possible that tomorrow you will step down as a representative or as senator or as president, and you will still have life to live. And what JMB Jr. said was, when his father became president, he knew that all of these things will come his way, and decided to remain mute. And whatsoever people say about his person, he will not talk. But this one got to him, and he decides to talk, or decided to talk. So, if we are looking at it this way, we need to be careful how we handle issues. We need to be careful because if he were seen in all of the government agencies again, people will have problem with that. And he said he wanted people to do their job out of fear. That's why he only visited the place where he was working maritime one time. And I think that was fair enough that he never wanted to battle any other person. Because we know what people can say when their parents are in higher authority. By the time they come around and anything happens, people will say, they men were around here, he tell the information to your father. Or this guy was here, he did this one, he did that one. So I think it was fair enough for him to live and just be by his own. But if people want to dig out things, like what the higher journalists we have in our country running, will always say, I have evidence. Display no evidence. All the evidences. Let people be able to dig there and know whatsoever that you have said. If they are true, then people will be able to investigate this. We need to trace the source or sources of this cocaine, that our country will be free. We need not just to be lying about one another because you don't feel that somebody is in government. Why should you target another person just because of his or her job? To me, I feel that it is not fair. If I am working as a director and you need my position, honestly push your agenda. When the time comes, you will take that position. But you should not be able, because all of this thing we're doing, it is not the president is spoiling.
It is not. Frankie, you read your your analysis is on par. For me, what I'm saying here tonight is that the politics, the self-destructive politics that have existed in our political landscape for a very long time is what I'm looking at. Because tomorrow Baka leaves office. Musa Belete's son was in prison for drugs issue. Let's say tomorrow, Jeremiah comes to office, or whoever that person here comes to office, and then the same pattern that have continued for so long from early time coming onward now, this pattern will continue if we are not careful to say enough is enough of all of this. If we are not careful with the way we conduct ourselves politically and say politics is all about selling ideas, This is my ideas, and this is what I bring forth to the table. If mine is, seem trustworthy to go about it, John Brown can pick it up. If it is not, they pick up another person who we all go about and work about it. If the person continues, expire. If I am not choosing, that gives me more time to work on my, presenting my platform and presenting myself to the public so that I can be, seen as fit in the future. But we are not doing it. We are proceeding on a very wrong path. The politics that destroy one another, that we attack characters instead of attacking issues. We have developed that avenue now where we think that everything we discuss should be about tarnishing one another characters. And it didn't start from this regime. It started way back in early regime, coming onward, getting to George where it became worse, and now it's getting more worse. If somebody else comes on board, it will be more than. And I always say, if we, the current generation, fails to, put a check mark to those negative things that are happening in our Liberian body politics, and think that the next generation after us will be able to solve those issues, that will be they will not even get it. It will be the very wrong thing, and they will not even get it. They fought to do that because the foundation was not laid for them. It's not. And it's an open challenge now. The government, the security apparatus, the joint security, whoever investigating those whole issues, it is an open challenge to them now to go ahead and investigate. The guy has said, I've been quiet. Go ahead, do the investigation. If my name is phone or if I am liable, bring my name out. And fellow Liberians, on a very serious note, the issue that we have put politics into and not taking it as a very serious issue in our country that relates to these drugs things, it is not an easy task. Anyone who has my man, if you follow the show from the beginning, I have laid out premises before getting to this point, where we are as a country and where we are heading, how citizens are being treated, are listed out, everything. But the reality here is that we, the Liberians, ourselves, got to put ourselves into this whole issue of the fight against drugs and put politics aside. And put the politics aside. Because the people that are affected, drugs don't know politics. It knows human body. And I always say this, I say America makes people to be jack of all trade, master of none. I have worked on various career fields in America. I came from Liberia as a health student. I got into human services, went into behavioral health. I progressed towards both security and behavioral health. I have seen firsthand, drugs. I have seen the reaction of drugs. I have seen how there is areas in Philadelphia. My first time on our street, here we use what we call GPS. I was going to a client house and my GPS rerouted and took me into a community I've never been before. It was my first time passing that community. And honestly, I thank God that I left that community safely, because if a normal human being passes that community and you have the thought to say, this place ever exists in America, it never came to my mind until I saw it that day. I went and I asked the person that I was going to. I said, "Oh, sorry, I got my GPS rerouted." I said, "Where you pass?" I named the community. He was like, "Man," I said, "It's my first time seeing that people will be standing like zombies. If you ever watch the zombie movies, people will be standing like zombies. Even if object is coming towards them, it is not their business. You got to maneuver your way so you can't hit them." At that moment, animals have self-control, because if animal sees you coming, a moving object coming, they leave, they will run. But the zombie, the way the drugs do them, makes them to look like a zombie. Anything you do, they don't even think about it. There are places in even the state that I live in now. You go downtown under the bridge, you got people that sleep under the bridge. So that is the issue of drugs. It is not one person. It is a acquired pandemic that needs serious attention from every single Liberian, no matter, regardless of your political affiliation, whether you are U-based, seditions, member of CMC, Liberty Party, MDRO, all the party you think of in Liberia. If you are a member of that, drugs does not know party, it does not know politics, but it knows the human body. That's what we're talking about. Our brothers and sisters, the ordinary Liberians, are suffering from this. And if you will sit and think that I'm not affected, it is not me, you get it wrong. One way or the other, you are affected. One way or other, you are affected. Because the people that are on the street, I will call them Zogo. And I have watched some of them. They are very much educated. Some came out of high school. And some articulate very well. But one thing led to another, and they end up in that category. If you heard me the last time, I think the last show that I had here, we were talking about the same drugs issue. And I said, my recommendation to Liberian government to get those folks out of the streets, getting them out of the street, not a thing. But is there any mental facilities to host those guys? Is there any mechanism? You do it, if you can't do it in all the areas, you do it regionally. Monserrato, you have a center. Though we had April and Darren Zilor is there, and this lady Jojo started, a very good initiative. You're right. To the extent I have interacted with some who, yes, they are educated. They are. Some articulate very well than even some of us who claim we are normal. Some articulate very well than some of us who are government employees. And like I said, my recommendation to the Liberian government, create a center, all right? Like Darren Zidane got her own, that's a private thing. Jojo has coffee with that lady, coffee with Jojo. She got her own private thing that she takes people from the street. But for the government to, centralize this whole thing, let's say you look at Monserrato, you create you create a very large area where those guys will be taken off the streets, take them there, you decom them, They'll be there for some time and gain their own conscious mind. You release them, even releasing them just not a thing. Create an avenue where those folks will go. You do that, you will see the populations you have, you realize that some of those guys that have been wasted for a long time are really genius. You do a regional, you look at President Nima, open one center in Nima. You got a lot of hospitals in Nima. You just create an annex over there, open one center. So now people will have the notion that, okay, if I'm taking somebody from Ganta, Southern Korea County, Tapeta, all over, you're taking them there, you're taking them to that center, they will be there. If they are not around those things, it will be hard for them. And not just taking them to those places, and when they are treated, you just release them back on the street. And release them back on the street. That issue will not solve the problem. Take them, send them to an area that at least they can do something. If somebody, there's some person that you retrain their mind and they are not, conscious enough, working somewhere, they're getting their father safe for themselves. When they are done, you tell them, okay, you are here for so and so amount of time, go back. They're coming back, they're starting life afresh. But we're still moving around with this calabash of drugs coming to the country, exiting the country, and we take it as CDC, the UPS, the CMC, all the political party, and join it together and make it like politics. We are not serving ourselves well. As any Liberians who live in a Western world, who have been on a behavioral healthy for an extensive period of time, they will tell you. We play with things in Liberia, and I've said it over and over that the one of the things that we think when they say this person has mental issue, we think that the person is crazy. Not all of them are crazy. It is not even craziness. You and I will wake up and go to clinic, we get fever, malaria. We wake up and go to clinic and get treated. It's the same way that we need to treat behavioral health. Especially those that takes in those drugs, they come when some of them take the drugs, the medication that calm them down, and when it sets in them, actually, you and them have normal conversation that a normal human being does. We still got work to do in Liberia. It is not party politics. All of us collective effort. They want that when government do something, when they do it, we talk it. They do the good one, we talk it. They do the bad one, we talk it. And I always say this. Liberia is getting somewhere. Are we there yet? No. But we are gradually making an effort to get there. In so doing, it is all of us, whether John Brown is part of Unity Party, whether Mary is part of CDC, even CMC of Most Ability, MDR of Nema County. We're all Liberians. And let us take this seriously. And as Jojo have said, it's an open challenge. It's an open challenge. And if we allow politics to destroy, us and just be attacking characters and not handling issue constructively, then we'll be doing ourselves a disservice. Because that's not how society goes about doing things. There are rules and regulations. But for us in Liberia, all the thing we depend on is, who I am. And these are things that destroy us. Our society is still vulnerable. Liberia is still vulnerable to the outside population, the outside world. Yeah, those guys came into the country as quote-unquote investors, engaged in aviation, and they realized that aviation was going to be a risky one. Took the direction of what? Boat, fishery. We're issuing lessons to companies. Do those companies, do they actually have history? That's the thing we need to be looking at. Our flags that are on our international sea, moving from place to place. These are things that we need to be looking at. Liberia flag is on most commercial vessels because it's easy to get. Liberia flags move on the international waters because it's easy to get. But we issuing out our flags to other countries to use so that it will be easy for them to maneuver their way. But then, are we actually following on that? Because most of the things that people do is our country image. It's our image that has been damaged here. Is there policies in place to monitor how we issue out our heritage to people? Those folks came in the country through as fishery people, but it was a calculated business, as the prosecutor alleges. How many boats? This is just one. This is just one. You remember when the whole saga started, the whole drugs, the $19 million, before the $19 million even will come about, Martin Colley released put out a statement that he said, even the $19 million, even the $19 million is just an iceberg. Another one has exited the country before he said it. I look for that post when he said it. It's a serious, serious crisis in Liberia that we are to actually work on and fight to restore the image of Liberia, the dignity that Liberia once had. We need that, but it's all of us efforts. And I always say there's people who, all of us can be politicians. The little one that I have to contribute is the one I'm doing sitting right here. This time I should have been doing different things. But all of us got to put our little effort into something that we do for the betterment of Liberia. I hear from Nigma. Before becoming a Liberian, I'm a son of Nigma, and I was born in Liberia. I lived outside of Liberia. That does not mean I should forget about my root. That does not mean what I have experienced outside of Liberia, I should not talk about it. Always on the podcast, when it comes to a security issue, I always say Liberia is still vulnerable. As any security personnel, Liberia is still vulnerable. Liberia is still vulnerable in the sense that because we are not paying attention to the very key issue that we need to pay attention to. There are a lot of trained Liberian security personnel outside of Liberia, a lot that I know of. And joking it, 2024, was it? No, 2025, when Honest Mercy visited the US, we had a gathering here at my place, and a couple of people came from the Liberian communities that came to speak to me. And there's a Liberian guy who's a police guy here in the state that I live. We were talking one thing from another. He brought out the issue of the security at the airport. Then I busted laughing. He said, "Well," I said, "I've been thinking about that thing. But my intention now is if there is a way that we can unite and offer our services to our country and just put security measures in place at our airport. Our airport is still vulnerable. Then he busts out laughing. I said, that's the reality. He said, you're right. That airport is still vulnerable. And this is my point that I was about to ask the honorable. Our security sector, because if we have a very strong security sector, these things will not happen. It will happen, but on a very minimal scales. The way for the past couple of years, drugs have taken center stage in Liberia. This is not how it was before. We used to hear about drugs. Most of the thing I used to hear about when I was still in Liberia was Caro, the one who called marijuana. But where we are now, that we have exited the age of marijuana, now we're talking about cocaine, kush, you name it. Yeah, Liberia. That little country will still got work to do. The government is playing her part, but we expect them to do more. Citizens still got to play their contribution. The contribution here is all of us collective effort, no matter what of politics. What of politics? One way or other, we are all political beings. But in a very serious, with all sincerity, we still have something that we need to contribute to our society. Our society. You know Liberia? We are connected to 3 countries, common borders. Go other side, where you go, look for Sierra Leone. Now, Cape Man, Sierra Leone. Come to Lofa, Guinea. Coming down towards Bon County, Nima County, Guinea. Nima, Ivory Coast. Going all the way towards Butuo or Grand Gide, Ivory Coast. So we have common port of entry, common areas that are vulnerable, that works need to be done on a daily basis to help that little country. And we'll invest in our security sector, we'll have a long-term gain. It might not be immediate, but it will be a long-term gain that we will have. Liberia has some trained security personnel. But we can just take politics outside and put Liberia first. We will benefit a lot. Well, I'm only one thing I got to tell you about the other one. I'm only one thing. And I don't blame y'all. I don't blame Liberians. And I blame Liberians. If Liberia have had Liberians have had job floating all around. No too much attention will be paid to politics that the way it is today. And the other one, I bring our men in. Because they always want for us to sit and beg them to their feet. We're begging you. No, I beg you. No, I beg you. The only time you will see them talking to us nicely is when election comes, they want friendship. They want friendship, now people will be coming closer. But they don't talk to us nicely when we elect them, give them the key. We implore them now. Now we don't want to be backing our employer. No, now we don't want to be backing our employee. Basic needs is a struggle in Liberia. It didn't just start with this government from the past. And I believe if you ask the typical Liberians who lived through the regime of Charles Taylor, they will say, Charles Taylor regime, we have war, but food was not an issue. Early regime, we just came out of war, but money was not an issue. We are regime, Bwaka regime, what can we point at? That's the question. I'll leave it with you all, and I'm hoping for an answer. All right, let me go to district number 4 now. Let me finish with Liberia. Let me go to district number 4. I wish my district a very successful, sporting event. The district league will officially kick off on Saturday, the 1st. And as I am told, I saw a post where Adolphus donated some sporting activities, sporting materials, including food items to the district, and we applaud him for that. But one thing I'm here to understand, I'm trying to reach out to the steering committee of that whole team, is that whether the publication, the justification was publicized enough for the entire district to follow along. Because Trois River is not small. Trois River is very large district. You're talking about the Slow Bell, the Soul, the Bew, Bo, and Longzian. About 5. So whether there was enough publication from people from Bewley to come to where it was, people from part of Slow to come to where it was. That's my question, and I'm hoping to get to my men and to ask them. But regardless of that, all citizens of district number 4, our Peking there come and go play. Our team come and go play. Let's support them. Whatever way you can. We will try to bring them on the show here, hopefully, once we get a connection from the steering committees. We'll bring them on the show here to have conversations and how we can help. So all of you that are coming across this podcast, citizen of district number 4, if you are not from there, you want to help support district number 4, we need your help. My man Harrison Boba, every him and second class every day, man from district number 3. I saw him, he seriously campaigning for district number 3. Yeah, but yeah, did have man. Him and second we coming run campaign every day. We're coming to our district politics now. District number 3, district number 4. All right. I will not just play one and all that. I dip hey. You panelists on the platform. I did here now already ginger. But very serious note, I wish all of you guys participating in the upcoming district league a very successful one. We are hoping that everything goes smooth. And as the new schedule that was abruptly brought forth, that all of us will adapt to that going forward. Because I think I overheard the youth minister saying she wants for the diaspora Liberians to also enjoy the festive season when they come. Because on a serious note, when we come, we are rushing to come back in January. And it's the same January when we are on our way back to the US. It's the same January that some part of maybe around the middle of January, then the final will take place. So if final will be now playing in December, some of us will be fortunate enough to watch the game live if we visit home. So kudos to her. So I wish all of you well in the coming district league. I know my Ghana people gearing up. The only time we can unite, our time we'll say we're going for that country being a hey, Nima country. The only country in Liberia that when it's playing, it become country on her own, and all the other country go against is Nima. But I hired people in our country to, after the sport, everybody can put a political bazooka on. They launching one another, they're crazy. An interesting place to be. Interesting country, no joke. But what is it with the minister? They dragging the minister on Facebook. Now I wish it were not leading like brother. Somebody can answer me, because I have seen a lot of posts lately on social media since the minister got into the US about the July 26th celebration and this and that. Well, I'll leave it right there. We'll have a discussion here. We'll have an official discussion on that topic when I have more panelists to have opinions and views on all of that. We'll discuss them. But I say it's not easy. It's not easy. Well, folks, let's listen to our music briefly, and then we'll call it a day from here.
Iron Lady Records, sweet sound. I come to tell Mama, ya no see, no way I can meet that. Megane na uka yenda babo na une don yam na une don yam na une don yam megane na uka wo mama kokwa na une don yam bunu wa banu ko makale gbe para kala wa boya gbe wa na une don yam para ka ka so na une don yam wala mo se yo Ekwara mosi talo gwe baba ne Ekwara mosi akpendo gwe baba mama Mekane na une don yam Na une don yam Na une don yam Meka yene yaka kabwe baba we ni ba we tono gwe baba Na ye bebe don ye dole
I will hold it right there. Well, folks, want to say thank you to all of you here tonight. It has been a very pleasure interacting with you all, and thanks to some of you who follow us here tonight, and those of you that have come across this video. I know it's about it's past 10 in Liberia, heading to 11 p.m. What all we are saying here is for the good of Liberia, the good of all Liberians. I am not a politician. When I see, I will talk it. We are a watchdog in the society. The good one happen, we'll talk it. The bad one come, we'll talk it. What we want here is for all Liberians to benefit and enjoy the resources that deserve them. We are rich in resources, but we are poor developmentally and economically. We are poor. Liberians go to bed hungry. And I believe Liberia has become now the story of the bourgeoisie and the proletarians. We elect them. We go to bed hungry. We are poor. Why are they getting rich? And the rich are getting richer. The poor remain poor. What mechanism can be put into place for Liberians to benefit from their own natural resources, to benefit from their own just fair share, that Liberia will be respected on the global stage? How do people look at us? Well, now people say Liberia is becoming a hoop of drugs transit point. And this goes to us Liberians, our conscience. Are we allowing money to destroy our conscience? There are a lot of business means in Liberia. It's not through drugs. Let me tell you, to fight against these drugs, it is you, me, everybody, collective effort. And to you people, the government officials, some of y'all, the way y'all can be jumping in our house, we'll start to look at y'all with microscope now. Because the way y'all can be jumping in our house there, some of y'all say, when y'all can be sweating like very good. Y'all be jumping. We'll be looking at a microscope. Because the fight against these drugs is all of us efforts, not one person. So y'all can get high before y'all go out and go start cursing us. Not everybody in our house can curse. I get my man and I get my correct man over there. But some of y'all in our house, y'all can curse us. Y'all say that you can't used to curse us. You can't there again. Yesterday, you're still cursing us. Well, you don't worry. The day you open, you can sit. Y'all know that you can bounce back. And when you can come back here, that one you forget it, he will scrape your heat in. Yeah. But back to what I was saying. Y'all sit and think of the future of Liberia for your children, for our children, for all of us. Picture Liberia in a way that when you're getting old, you will have the desire to live freely in your own country. You know that there's something that you depend on. Every day you open social media, somebody and that young person. Hey, that person was young, man. Hey, why young people are dying from Liberia that is? It is a very serious issue that all of us need to put our act together, including all government officials. It is not something to say, hey man, that person. You see, somebody did something in his country. He was a leader. That was Joe Biden. Joe Biden's son, when he died, became president. It was not anything related to drugs, but it was something related to his own personal life. And he was convicted. The trial dragged on for long. And David Moore of ABC interviewed Joe Biden. And he said something. He said, if whatever the outcome might be, I will allow justice to prevail. If they say he's guilty, whatever fine or whatever charges, whatever they decide, it will happen. I will not interfere. So drugs, whether you are president, whoever you may be, whether you are Jeremiah Pankun, whether you are Nyumbli, Speaker Kun, everybody got to be treated the same when it comes to those issues, even if it is your child. Let the justice prevail. And to our investigators, you see, we make trust, we build trust, and we maintain the trust. But if we make the public to lose hope, to rebuild that trust, is a very difficult thing to do. Now, people, I'm begging you. So this whole issue here, it is all of us effort that we need to seriously work at. That one person, there not be one person ideas, one person thing that will say, oh, they want you happy that they want you happy that they. I'm begging all of us. And I want us to do ourselves on justice. As you guys go about doing your investigation, let Liberia get before your own desire. Know that you are doing it for Liberia. Know that you are doing it for your children and their children. Let's take politics out of it and build Mama Liberia. Let's join hands. You see, when Ebola came, we all fought Ebola because we know it was something dangerous. This is equally dangerous as Ebola. When Ebola came, Ebola never said, oh, I'm a UP, I'm a CDC. I'm coming for UP, I'm coming for CDC. But Ebola came in a country for all human, all Liberians. This is the same way this drug pandemic is. They're not easy. If you're sitting there and think, me, but I got nobody that doing habit. Say, I got nobody doing habit. My friend, stop saying that. Because the one you call habit, when somebody has been introduced to it and it stays and they adapt to it, to get them out of that habit is an everlasting fight. Now you yourself, you will ask God, what happened? What I did? Let's join hands and fight this crisis and move and make things work for Liberian lawmakers. You all bring policies that will bring make a positive impact to the life of Liberians. And stop your rigmarole of things. The idea of embezzlement, you're driving, one person get about $1 million budget. You're driving, big cars, GMC, riding big rings. They think will not benefit your constituents. So you're eating cow meat, you're Jordan growing. The poor people that voted here, they're going to bed hungry. When you see there, you wish you of fear power when they come into your door. That every day you see people standing to your door begging. Amen. Amen. Y'all please do something correct in our country, man. Far too long. Y'all please do something. Y'all do justice. Y'all do us a favor and let's work together. Mama Liberia is all we have. And I hope we all will join hands to take this country forward and not to destroy this country we call our home. Tomorrow we'll be here again with another edition. God's word, as our former president Charles he says before he leaves, and I always like to say, God's word will be on your airway tomorrow again with our little one cent. We'll be here tomorrow. The little one will get us here, we'll say it. If you like it, fine. You like it, you listen. You don't like it, Jaco Lanta. We remember that song. You like it, Jaco. You don't like it, Jaco Lanta. Well, thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you. It's been a pleasure interacting with you all. God's word, I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you, back from mine, and it has been a wonderful time here tonight. And thanks to our followers who came along.